Wednesday on the Caucus, a look at one especially challenging number for President Obama inside the latest New York Times CBS News poll. Also, Mitt Romney is the endorsement frontrunner, but how much will it actually benefit his campaign?
I would lay the blame directly at the feet of President Obama and the Democrats in Congress. I don't blame them for the recession, but I do blame them for the length of the high unemployment.
Of all the numbers in the latest New York Times CBS News poll, one stood out that may be particularly worrisome for President Obama. Some 56% of Americans say that he does not have a plan to create jobs in the country. Of course, this comes some 6 weeks after he unveiled his American Jobs Act. He's logged tens of thousands of miles across the country, going from coast to coast trying to sell his economic plan. But yet, more than half of Americans say he does not have a plan to create jobs. It's not that the public doesn't support specific aspects of the American Jobs Act. In fact, they do, giving small businesses tax cuts, granting local governments more money to keep firefighters and school teachers employed, and spending more money on infrastructure. But taken individually, the public still does not believe that the president has a jobs plan. One factor fueling this sentiment is the high level of distrust among Americans at their government. We reached out to some poll respondents to hear what they had to say.
If the question is who's to blame for the bad economy, I don't know. There's a lot of different answers for that.
I have to point to the U.S. government. And I'm not talking Democrats or Republicans or conservatives or liberals. I'm talking about the government as a whole.
With a little over a year to go before Election Day, it remains an open question if the economic outlook of the country will change. But one thing that will is that President Obama will no longer be running against himself. He'll be going head-to-head against a Republican opponent. But even then, the president is taking pains to remind people that no matter how it turns out, the election of 2012 will not be like the one of 2008.
I'm here to tell you, whether you're an old grizzled veteran or new to the scene, I need your help.
Salvatore, this is Mitt Romney calling. It really is.
Last night and today, Governor Romney was in Northern Virginia. Virginia isn't what we normally think of as an early primary state, but one of these things that's going on behind the scenes that we don't see in his public schedule is that in addition to public events, all political candidates have fundraisers. So for instance, Governor Romney last night, he was in the McLean section of Virginia trying to sort of sew up tech money. While he was in the state, he also met with Virginia Governor Bob McDonnell.
We do, huh? You let me be his VP?
You have to imagine that Governor Romney would love his endorsement, and that was one of the things he was probably talking to him about.
I think your governor or former governor ought to be the next president of the United States. So, yeah. Mitt Romney.
Mitt Romney leads in the endorsement war. On the whole, he has a lot more endorsements than all of his rivals. This year, endorsements were a little slow to get started, but now it's really picking up. And we actually saw yesterday with Governor Romney, his campaign sent out 3 releases announcing more supporters in Oklahoma, more supporters in Ohio, and more supporters in Florida. So when they have an endorsement, this is definitely something they want to make sure the media is aware of and people know about.
Mitt Romney is the man we need to lead America, and we need him now.
So the interesting thing about endorsements is it's unclear how much they really affect a voter when they're in the voting booth on Election Day. Just because their governor endorses someone doesn't mean that their citizens are going to vote for them. But what endorsements do is they definitely drive a media narrative. His campaign would deny this, but one thing it's definitely doing is creating something of an aura of inevitability within the campaign that, this guy is going to be the nominee. Look, he has, X, Y, and Z endorsing him. If you want to be on board with someone who's going to be challenging Barack Obama in November, you better get on board now. People question how important endorsements are, and that's an open question. But the bottom line is there's not a real disadvantage to endorsements. So going forward, we can expect that candidates are going to continue pushing hard for more endorsements and to lock down these public officials who haven't made up their minds yet.